Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Droeks Malan, Meridian iAgent specializing in Stellenbosch with a special emphasis on Velgevonden and onder Papagaaieberg. And I'm here today to tell you what happens through the entire process of buying and selling a house. Often for the public or as a client, it looks pretty much simple. The agent just takes you to a house and you buy the house and there's not too much that you see. But often real estate is like a huge iceberg. The tip of the iceberg is showing above the water, and that's the part that you see, but below it there's a huge amount of work that you as the client or Joe Public maybe do not see. And that's where things can often go wrong and sink the Titanic. So it's important that you have somebody that know what they're doing on that part of the iceberg. Now, firstly, how do we get the property to sell? That's an interesting question. A lot of people believe we walk into an office and there's a list of properties there to sell, and you just go and you sell them. If it only were that easy. There's several ways of doing it. A lot of cold calling, the old-fashioned way of knocking and dropping that comes into it here and there. But for me, personally, I've been in the industry a long time, almost 20 years. A lot of it is old clients working through me again. So service delivery is important, and these clients often refer other clients to me. And I've had, for instance, that parents buy a house through me and later their children buy their first house through me as well. And beside that, it's very important to be visible, and not only visible in your area in terms of for sale boards, also visible because you need an online presence. And for that, we've got experts at Meridian that helps us with our social media posts to stay relevant all the time. I like to position myself as an expert in a niche market, and I like to do some short videos like I'm doing now, as well as write reports about what the property market is doing in my specific area. And that is something that I send out to a database of residents in those areas. It's free information that gives them an idea of what property prices are doing, and it's something that everybody wants. And from that positioning as an area expert, I often get my leads. So that's some of the ways that I get the property to sell. What happens when you call me and tell me, Droeks, we've got to sell, we've got to get the ball rolling? Well, firstly, we make an appointment, sometimes in person. Many of my clients are absentee clients or investors. Sometimes we'll do it over Zoom or over the phone, but I'll have a chat to the seller, find out about the property itself, what attracted them to the property when they were buyers, get a good overview of the property as well as the need of a seller. Some can take longer to sell than others, so all these factors need to be taken into account. Then the next step would be to do a marketing presentation of all the marketing tools that we have, and I'm not going to go into too much detail of that, but it is extensive, it's modern, it's cutting edge. And then we have to establish a market related price on the property and do a comparative market analysis. For that you require experience, and you have to have access to things such as CMA info and Lightstone, which is something that we have here as a backup at Meridian. Once we've established a valuation and the mandate is concluded, the next thing would be to take some professional photography, professional photographs and videography of your property. And we also have a very handy tool called Matterport, which is basically a virtual model as well as a virtual tour being constructed of your property. You can go and look around on some of the websites, on some of our listings, what it looks like. It's a very neat tool where a prospective buyer can even click on a little ruler icon and measure rooms to see if his furniture will fit in there. So that's after we've done the photography, the videography and the Matterport, that's when we start by listing your property on all the various websites. Now that's where Meridian's cutting edge back office support comes in as well. I'm a good copywriter, I hope, and I'll write a description of your property and we'll get all the details on there. The personnel there in the back office will work through it and will optimize it for each website, because the websites have different requirements that affects the ratings and where your property appear in the searches in different ways. So each one is customized. All those photos and videos and descriptions go on the website. And once that is on, we use our client relationship management, where I will send details of that property out to all the prospective buyers on my database. And from there on, the viewing starts. On that client relationship management system, I also have a way of keeping in touch with the seller. Often sellers complain that the agents listed the property and they never heard from them again or don't know what's going on. You don't have that problem here. It's easy and it is smooth. You get your feedback via email, via WhatsApp, whatever you prefer, and that goes on throughout the process. When we get to the offer, we also have in our back office support system customized sales contracts. So it's not like you would see in a lot of offer to purchase documents with a lot of Z-type scratches through the contract and things written in by hand. It's customized to whatever the situation of that particular offer is. Once we have negotiated the deal and the parties have agreed, that's when the transfer process in effect starts. First things first, it will be sent out to the buyer, the seller, as well as the transferring attorney from our back office. Then what you also have is we have got an in-house bond originator. Her name is Talita Pool. She's always up and on it, like she's had 7 coffees in the morning, and she runs with a bond approval if in fact it is not a cash deal. Then we keep you up to date on the bond approval as well as any other suspensive conditions. Once that is met, we will organize the COC certificates, a certificate of compliance certificates for you if you so choose, and keep you up to date with the entire transfer process. That is basically in a nutshell what happens in the process of selling a house. And it's important that you have an agent that keeps your needs first and that listens to you. You have to listen to the seller, but you also listen to the buyer. When somebody contacts me about a property, maybe they are not interested in the one particular property, but they might buy another property. So it's important, just like I sit with a seller to determine his or her needs, so I sit with a buyer as well, because that person has their own set of needs. It's important to listen to them, what kind of property they're looking for, what's the price range, when do I need to be settled in. All of these things so that you don't waste your time and you can give them a seamless experience. All of us, blended with the latest technology, with all the backup, makes Meridian Realty the place to be when you're buying or selling.